Welcome to everyone, and thank you for joining us for this afternoon's live webinar. Welcome also to the teachers who are engaging with the recorded version. This is the third of 5 webinars hosted by MLTAV and supported by the Victorian Government, designed specifically to support languages teachers in the current remote teaching and learning environment and beyond. Our presenter for this webinar is Linton Rowe. You will have, most likely you will have heard of Linton, and you would have read Linton's bio in making the decision to participate in the webinar this afternoon. However, in terms of briefly introducing him, Linton is an educational consultant and languages coach for Catholic Education Melbourne. He's an experienced German teacher who led the renowned Bayswater South Primary School bilingual program for many years. Linton is involved in the development of content and language integrated learning, CLIL approaches, and assists schools to build sustainable models of languages education that are powerful and engaging for students, teachers, and the wider community. There's much more to Linton, but I'm sure at the end of the presentation or beginning, Linton will give you a bit more information. So Linton, without further ado, I'll actually hand over to you so you can present on your topic, Languages Offline, a webinar to assist languages teachers to develop meaningful and useful tasks for students learning languages at home. So thank you, Linton, over to you.
Kerry, you are amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Can we applaud Kerry? And I'll tell you how to do that. Click on your participants button down the bottom, for those of you who don't know Zoom, and a little window will open up. And then you'll see down the bottom a more, the old 3 dots, ... Click on there and give her a round of applause. And Kerry, put it onto gallery view and see how many people are applauding you for your introduction there.
Oh, you're funny.
There you go. So welcome everybody. It's absolutely fantastic to be with you, and I'm going to share some slides with you. You're welcome to have these slides. So for those of you who copiously take notes down, in the chat box, I've actually put a click-in link to a view-only version of these slides. Big thanks to the MLTAV. I think you're doing a marvellous job of trying to bring teachers together in this time and providing us with some really great activities and ideas and a chance to have a chat with each other. So I think that's really important that we stick together. So thanks to Kerry. If you like something I say, in that little participants box, you've got a thumbs up and a thumbs down and a go faster and a go slower. And it's always interesting when someone says go faster and someone says go slower. But I'm hoping to make this as interactive as is possible when you've got 115 people online. So thanks to Kerry. Hello to my friends from the department. I've worked for 22 years for the department. Department people, give me the thumbs up. You can either do that from your participants box, or there's a little reactions down the bottom there. You can give me a thumbs up and I can see that next to your face. Catholic education people, I'm working with a lot of Catholic schools. Welcome, give me a thumbs up, good to have you along. Independent schools, I know quite a bit about independent schools and have worked with them and went to one, so thumbs up from the independent schools. And if you're just along for the ride, you are most welcome, and let's hope to collaborate a bit. So what are we here for today? Well, like a good teacher, I'm going to start with some learning intentions and talk to you a little bit about what I'm planning to cover in this next 50 minutes. So what's languages offline, Linton? Where does that come from? What a crazy idea. I would like us to consider putting student needs first, whether we're in lockdown, whether we're back in school, that shouldn't change. I would like to think about giving students the tools that they actually need to be able to practice at home, okay? We'll have a look at Quizlet, and we'll look at the poll results shortly if Kerry can help me with that. We'll just see, because if everybody knows everything about Quizlet, then we'll go pretty quickly through that bit. We'll explore Kahoot challenges as a way to engage students. We'll look at slides, and there are lots and lots of different types, but just have a look at the main elements there of audio, video, graphics, and text. Explore how can you engage with parents and and students when you're in a remote location. And I hope for us to learn from each other. So a bit of Q&A. So pop any questions into your box. There's a few more people have come on, and you're most welcome. Can we just ask you to turn your videos off, please? That'll just minimize the likelihood of us having any glitches. So, Kerry, do you want to let us know how we're going with that poll? What have we got? Looks like about 61% government and a smattering of others, is that right?
We have. So we've got 61% government. That's useful information to us. These, as I said at the beginning, these webinars are actually supported in terms of funding from the department. So that's interesting for us. Linton, these are yours. Quizlet, 61% no, 39% yes. Kahoot challenges, 57% no, 43% yes, fairly even. Interesting, the number 4, PowerPoint is by far the most popular, 85%. Yep. And 39% is the next, which is Google Slides. So hopefully that gives you some information.
Yeah, that's great.
The other is 11%, so it'd be interesting to know what other is.
Sure. So look, Kerry, feel free to give me the hurry up symbol if you feel like we're spending too long on one section.
Okay.
And I'm very happy to follow up if people would like more information about one thing or another. Okay, let's get into it. Why this title, Languages Offline? So can you open up your chat and just type in, why do you think I've called this Languages Offline? And while you're all busy typing and Kerry's having a nightmare because she's thinking, oh, what am I going to do with all this? All of the slides have hyperlinks in them. So you'll be able to get a copy now from the chat box right at the very top, or Kerry will give you the slides later and you can click into all of these things today. So you don't need to take copious notes unless you want to. So why Languages Offline? Have we got any answers there? Let's have a look.
Yes, we've got a lot.
What are they saying to us, Kerry?
They're actually saying because we're not with our kids, because the internet is so hit and miss at the moment, we need to be spending time away from screens, don't need internet, can create offline, because we are encouraging independent learning, because we aren't communicating face-to-face anymore. What tools should we use so that the students can work independently? There will be stuff kids access online that they can do offline. Need to empower students outside of class. There's great responses there, Linton.
My job's done. I think we can close the webinar. Well done, folks. So look, on your screen there, you can see the Languages Online. And I used that for many years. And look, it might have some great features still that you may find useful for your classes. Fantastic. And so it occurred to me, but hang on, we're all over the place at the moment. I'm working with teachers who send worksheets to their kids by snail mail, and also teachers who are live online for 5 hours a day with regulated classes. So there's all sorts of things going on out there. But for me, that's absolutely fascinating. So what do you do if your students can't be online, or if they can only be online occasionally? So I'm going to try and put something in for everybody here, and I hope that you'll see something that's useful today. Maybe you saw that media article recently. There were some kids who had very spotty Wi-Fi and they were sharing computers, and so they had to constantly be holding their phone up in the air and going places. And then there was the account of the teacher who set up a Kahoot ready to go for 100 people, and then the internet went down. I just think these are hilarious stories, but that's where we're at. And then how do you know that what you're putting out there is actually appropriate for what the kids need? If they're in their bedroom most of the time, what do they need to be learning languages right now? So I'd like to start today by suggesting to you that good teaching is always about beginning with your students. I'll say that again. Good teaching is always about beginning with your students, whether they're in the classroom, online, offline. And I'd like to suggest that quality language learning is still possible if we think carefully about what they need. So it's not so much about the tools. There are 100 wonderful webinars out there about the tools and how to use them and how much fun they are. but what do the students need? So I see this as an opportunity. We have the opportunity right now, as never before, to increase the frequency of exposure to languages. What if our kids could do 5 minutes a day instead of 40 minutes once a week, for example? Something to think about. But slow down, Linton. So right now, is languages the last thing on your mind? Slow down. Do you feel overwhelmed with technical learning and perhaps underwhelmed with language learning? It's a really good question. Are we investing all our time in tech and actually not thinking so much about the development of language, which in turn promotes problem solving and thinking skills? Okay, so don't throw the baby out with the bathwater is my suggestion. Keep the good teaching and adapt to the bathwater or all these different online tools that come and go. Every day there's a new one. So I'd just like to take us back to the hits. Give me a thumbs up if you've heard of hits. Some sectors probably don't work with hits. We got any thumbs up happening there, Kerry? What are the hits?
No, not yet.
No hits. No hits for the hits. Okay. So look, this is a really great set of high impact teaching strategies. That's what it stands for. Thanks, Marta.
Oh, yes, we have. We've got 14 thumbs up now.
Oh, 14. Way to go. Look, I was a bit skeptical and I thought, oh yeah, here comes yet another sort of initiative. But I really like these. They're succinct and they describe what good teachers do. And I'd just like to bring out 4 of them. And then as we move into the tools, I'd like you to think about how can those hits, those high impact teaching strategies actually impact your kids who may well be at home. So number 1 is setting goals. We've got to know what we're aiming for with our kids. Number 2 is structuring lessons. How do we know that we're scaffolding what kids need? Number 5 is collaborative learning. What opportunities do we have? Now, some of you might be using Google Classroom or you might be using Zoom and you do touch base with all your kids maybe every day. Others will be seeing them once a fortnight or not at all. So how do we allow the students, the learners, to collaborate? And then number 8, feedback. Are we asking the kids what they like about their learning and what they would like in their learning? And I'm going to suggest that these are critical to ensure that you have student engagement and motivation, whether you're live with them or not, whether they're in school or not. Who's this gentleman? First one to type it in. He was on the news last night. Oh, I think it was Jackie.
Jacqueline.
Followed by Catherine. 2 German teachers. Must be saying something. Yeah, that's John Hattie. He started his life, I believe, in Auckland, and now he's at Melbourne Uni. He was on the news last night, but he's been doing a lot of work on effect sizes. And if you haven't checked him out, he's well worth checking out. He talks about what does make a difference that teachers do and what doesn't. And in an article last week, and the link's down the bottom of the slide there, he talked about what should we be doing now while kids are locked down or while we have minimal contact with them. He says optimizing social interaction between peers and teachers. Sounds funny, but it's that face-to-face, that hearing the voice that is critical for growth. He said, listen to student feedback carefully as you do not have your usual classroom cues. And isn't that so true? You can't tell if little Sally in the corner is actually listening to you or not, or if Billy over there is still worried about what happened in the playground. So we have to find other ways of getting that feedback. Balance precious knowledge with deep learning. So is it about a list of nouns, or is it about the ability to construct sentences and put words together? Understand, well, what does it mean to be a learner online? We know a bit from a teacher's perspective maybe, but what about from the kid's perspective? Question how you can know your impact as an educator from afar, and collaborate more often with other teachers to share ideas, observations, and tips. So you get a big tick there because you're here today. Okay, that's John Hattie. So am I telling you, oh, just ignore all the online tools? No, not at all. They can transform learning and enable daily learning of languages. And I was fortunate enough to hear Kathleen last Thursday. She gave us some brilliant tips for how to use tools. But just ask yourself, what do students need to know now to learn languages? So I'm just suggesting it's not about the tools for the tools' sake. It's about the rich tasks that you give them. So here are the principles I use. Begin with the end in mind, okay? Stephen Covey's work. What do your students need? Ask yourself these questions. What will interest them and motivate them? How can they be encouraged to practice every day? Hey, we've got a chance here, folks. Even if it's a little bit every day, research shows that that actually benefits that cumulative use of language. And how can you set up feedback? So, having said all that, I don't know what your students need, but here's a process that may help you. So I use this tool before I select what platform I'm going to use. Here's my process. This is Linton Road 2020. What's the context, age, home situation and language experience of your kids? Ask yourself those questions. Then, what's your learning intention based on that box? Next one. Okay, so for me, I've done a lot of teaching of German, so I've put in the German one here, and as we use the tools, you'll see that thread going through. So my learning intention for my kids right now is I'm learning to speak German using all the words I know, so that they're recycling everything that they've been learning so far. What do my learners need to be able to do this? So what do they need to be able to recycle all of their language and start to construct and start to speak? I want them to be speaking it at home. How am I going to achieve that? Now I need to select vocabulary, tasks, and some feedback mechanism. Okay, I need to check in somehow. Then I select what's the best tool for the task. So I try and get feedback any way I can, and then repeat that cyclical process. So that helps me. Maybe it will help you. I'm not sure. Now, Kerry, I feel like I've been talking a lot. Have we got any burning questions that have popped up in the box that need answering straight away, or shall we go on?
No, go on, Linton. Nothing. Yeah.
Okay. So now that I've worked out my learning intention, and that is, well, I want my kids to be practicing speaking, and they need some stimulus vocabulary. Okay. So let's have a look at Quizlet. Why would you use it? Well, I want them to practice at home. Knowing my students, I would probably produce a short video example of what I wanted them to do. So let's imagine I've got a primary class. I might be asking them to play hide and seek at home, or make up a play with some puppets. So something that they've got to do and then send me back a little clip. Or maybe a secondary class, I might ask them to keep a video log of what they're doing each day, or maybe create a character animation of two students working at home talking to each other, something like that. But they need that vocabulary and the key terms that they're going to use. They need to know how to pronounce it, don't they? And we may also have to cater to some parents that might want to know, well, what is this that you're learning and how can I help you? So I'm going to suggest Quizlet can do all these things, either online or offline, and there is a Quizlet app for iOS or Android devices, I believe. So why use it? Well, it has various learning modes. You can put graphics and audio into it. You can use it live with the class, and we'll try it out shortly. Or you can set it as a homework task or as a challenge. So I think we heard, didn't we, that about 61% said no, they weren't really very familiar with Quizlet. So let's just go in and have a bit of a look. Just change my view here. Right. Okay. Let's go here. So I'm hoping that you can all see just a quick little set of flashcards that I made up. So Quizlet is free. Once you go beyond 9 cards, okay, it asks the kids, can they sign up? They don't have to. They can click out of the box and into these, and it'll still work. But if you have no objection, or the parents have no objection to it, it's free and it's an easy sign up. So this is a set I've made. we'll just quickly walk through a couple of the activities. So when I click on the card, it's got my German there. You can set it up any way you like, with or without graphics. Hope you're saying this at home. So we've got a set of cards that we create. I want to edit those or add something in. There's your little edit tool down here. So I'll just add in another card just so that you see how it works. So here's what the teacher sees, the edit or editable version. And then I can add a card in there. Someone give me a word. What am we going to add in? First one that flashes up on the screen is, one of those German teachers out there is going to have a go. Let's try, oh, shoe. Go on, shoe. That's what you say to the dog, isn't it? Sometimes. Okay, so it is a noun. I'd probably go for a verb, but let's go for shoe. If I wish, I can make my own recording, or it'll recognise it as a German word, and it'll give a system voice, or I can record my own if I prefer. So, Schuhe. Oh, you hold the space bar down. Schuhe. And then it should play it for us. Schuhe. I've just realised you're not hearing my audio, so just hang on 2 shakes. Let's go share and where's that? Now you should be able to hear me. Sure. Did you get that? And over here you can put shoes or whatever you like. It recognises a lot of languages. So that's just setting up the cards. Also, I could go, this is a brilliant website, the Droplet list of lots of freebies that you can use. See the link there? I'll just shove that into the chat box so that you can all get that. There we go. So I use that all the time. So you grab yourself an image and you just drag it across into there. Let's see what I've got on my desktop. I don't think I've got any shoes, sorry. But I'll just grab this. Grab these guys. Someone's just not muted there, by the way. So there we go. We'll shove those guys in there and they'll be shoes. So you've got to remember that now. So then I'm done. I've just added another card. Now there's all these different modes that you can use. So I'll show you learn.
Ich.
And so it's
Ich.
pronouncing it for me, and then I can select the English.
Hello.
The other way around if you want to. Down here is an options button, and you can tell it to answer with German, English, or any other language you like. You can tell it to just have particular types of questions. You can turn the audio on and off, and that's available. Those options are available in each of the learn modes. So, hello. What do I have there? Guten Tag. Are you saying it at home with me? Oh, didn't like that. How do you like that? Wanted the capitalisation. But guess what? I can tell it, no, it's all right. It's okay. They sure and have it like that. And look at that. There's our new word. Sure. Sure. Okay.
Auf Wiedersehen.
So that's the learn mode. If you get sick of that particular way of doing things, you jump out and try something different. So there's write and spell and test, match and gravity. So this is a fun little game they can play. It's all based on recycling that same language over and again. You can put in whatever language is appropriate for the learning that your kids need. So this is just a bit of fun. Blast those asteroids. You can imagine your year 4 to 6 boys probably wouldn't mind this. I'll put it in like this time. There we go. And so on and so forth. All right.
Linton, there's 2 questions. I'm just thinking it might be easier to answer them. Now we had Tina, how do you insert images, please? And we had Marta, how do you change the language in what you just shared? So might be easier to answer those now.
Sure. So we did just have an example of how to do the image. So you just start a new set of cards and you just literally drag from your desktop into there and it will replace that image. And what was the second question?
The second question is, how do you change the language?
So when you set it up, when you set up a new set of cards, it'll just ask you, what are you going to do? In fact, it'll auto-detect, I think. So if you put in buongiorno, it'll auto-detect that you're working with Italian. Okay, I wanted to mention there's some great sites for royalty-free graphics. So let's say, for instance, I did want to find some shoes. I'm going to just go shoes here in my Google Chrome browser. I'm going to click on images. Now, sorry if you already knew this, but I didn't know this until a little while ago and found it really helpful. You click on tools and then usage rights. And you can actually take labeled for reuse with modification. They're perfectly okay to use without any copyright issues. And then I can just drag any of those onto my desktop and then back into Quizlet. So you've got lots of options for really great little graphics. So I hope that answers that question. How about we have a go? We have a go of a live game. So this would be easiest if you have a phone or an iPad, but if you don't, then you can still do it just by opening another browser window. So if I click on live here, this is going to test us out. You can play as teams or you can play as individuals, okay? And so you can set it up as a challenge. And you can set it up, do you want English, do you want German, how do you want it to work? So let's see how good your recollection of German is. So if you type into a new browser window or on your phone or your iPad, www.quizlet.live, and once that pops up, I'll tell you the code to enter in. And the code is 807347. So it's www.quizlet.live, and then we've got 807347 is the code to enter in. If you can't get in, no stress, just stick with us in the Zoom app and you'll be able to see on your Zoom screen what I can see as the presenter. So you could be the teacher having a live class share, or you can set the same thing up for them to play within a certain time frame. And then you can come back on Friday and go, okay, let's see which ones they got right, which ones they got wrong, what caused problems, and so on and so forth. All right, we've got 39 players out of 125. I'll just wait another 10 seconds. So if you can all count up to 10 in German for me, that would be great. And then we'll get cracking. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Good luck. Oh, look at them. And notice how it's detected the German and it's put people, given them a German name. So good luck, folks. Off you go. Oh, you can change the music now, by the way. I prefer a bit of reggae, because otherwise it's louder, they're getting up there. Who's got a win? Mary, have we got a prize for the winner? My gratitude.
I haven't thought about that one, Linton. Maybe we...
Look out, someone's got a win. All right, Betty, congratulations to Sophie. Everybody do this. Click on well done, Sophie. So
well done, Sophie.
Yeah, you can do a whole lot of jump out of the name. And that is Quizlet. I think given time, we might duck on. If you've got more specific questions, really happy to do something separate about Quizlet with a smaller group some other time, whatever suits. So some of you might have seen Kathleen last Thursday and she showed us quizzes. And that has many of the same sort of features as Kahoot. And this is what Kahoot looks like. So why am I suggesting Kahoot for languages offline, you might wonder? Well, they've gone to a lot of trouble to put in a whole lot of new features and make it available for asynchronous learning. So for example, you can actually set a challenge or a homework task that has time limits on it. And so the students will still be timed for their particular have a go, but then you can look at all the results at the end of the week. It's great fun, and the students can give you feedback. There's lots of different templates, so if you're not tech savvy, it does a lot of the work for you. And I think the most important thing is you get data on how the kids go. So you can craft some really interesting questions, you can put in videos and audio and do a whole range of different things. So let's just have a quick explore. This is 2 questions I knocked up last night. So let's see how we edit that. So there's the three little buttons, 3 little dots, and edit. It's a very similar sort of process, I guess, to Quizlet. You can just drag and drop things straight in. So I could have a different opening graphic there. I've got, just for the purposes of what we're doing here, Guten Tag up the top, and then just a simple answer. And I've selected the correct answer. And I could also put an image in here if I wanted to prompt them. So for your younger learners, for example, you might want to put in one of these. These are I really like these because you can search for them. So let's say I want hello. I go Command F for find, and I go hello. And I go, okay, where's hello in this list? No, where is hello in this list? Didn't work for me, not to worry. Let's try hi, did that work? Well, there you go, technology. I know it works, I have used it. But let's just say that you find a nice little one that you like. Let's say it's friends. You click in there and that gives you a high res one, and then you just save that onto your desktop. So let's go, call it friends. Go back to my Kahoot. Going to my desktop now. There's friends. I'm going to drag it into my Kahoot. There. See how that works? Nice and easy. So it's all drop and drag. So that's my first question. My second question, see the questions are down the left-hand side here. Let's all say it together. Linton mag Kaffee. 1, 2, 3. Oh, sehr gut. Yeah, I'm sure I heard you say that. So this is just a true-false question. You can have them quite tricky questions. You can have all sorts of different varieties. So that's just to show how it works. If I want to add a new question, I'd click there. I can add all sorts of ones, a quiz question, a true-false, open-ended, a puzzle question. So let's just add another true-false just for now. Does Linton like coffee? Actually, let's put it in German. Mag Linton Kaffee. And true or false? Or maybe I should say Linton mag Kaffee. There we go. And I could then go and get my beautiful coffee glass here and chuck it in there. Oh, something went wrong. Okay. Not to worry. What else have I got on here? I'll put my little please chappy here instead. See if that works. That worked. So I've just added in. You see all the questions on the left-hand side there? Yeah. So have a play with that. Again, it's free. They do pester you with, are you sure you don't want to pay us some money? And look, if you use it lots, by all means, give them money and you get a whole lot more features. But you can use it for free. Let's have a little play of Kahoot. So all of those who have a device handy, or if you want to open up another tab, punch in kahoot.it, and here's a little one I made up yesterday, and we'll use it as teach, not as a sign. A sign is if, well, actually I probably should show you that. It should show you a sign. So I can set this task to be done by a certain time. So let's say by next Friday at 3 p.m, I want this done. Leave the question timer on so the kids only have a certain amount. You can randomise the order of the questions. You can give them a nickname so they can't call themselves silly names, and so on and so forth. And when you click create, it then goes into your list and you'll see as answers come through, and it gives you detailed data and a breakdown. But for us right now, let's just have a bit of fun. So you've got kahoot.it open somewhere on your phone or somewhere else. Game options, personalised learning. So that lets you check out the questions you got wrong after the game. You can put your own names in, but I could get the kids to have a generated name. The lobby music, I'm going to make reggae because it's better than the original. Randomised. Don't need all of those things. I think we're good to go. Let's go with Teams. Teams is when you can move around in a space and you've got to talk to each other, and only one person has the right answer on their device, so they actually have to work it out, and if they get it wrong, they go backwards. Let's do classic. Good luck. Okay, you need to now add in 3329779. I'll say it again. 3329779. Well done, Amanda. Yeah, I like this because you actually, I haven't checked to see whether you have so this enables people to play on another device. Their phone, leading for the whole class, or those who want to would just come to videos. But I do find you need to turn the music off after. Right, let's count backwards from 10. Right backwards. 7, familiar question.
Linton, just letting you know that the music's really loud and we can't hear you.
I'll have to look at your data later and see how you went. Well done. What does Linton like? Linton, mug, coffee. Everyone together? Sehr good. Well done. Here we go. Question 2. Ooh, what do you think? I didn't tell you, did I? But you can have more than one right answer. Like I said, kids love playing live. Is that what I put there? And I didn't put it is fun. That was very mean of me. So sorry, look, give yourselves a brownie point if you want to for one of those other answers. Next one, see how you go. Oh, Jackie. No, Lee's gone up the leaderboard there. And by the way, you're, year 7, year 8 kids, they really like that leaderboard and that sense of working together as a team. How would I say I like coffee? When you design the questions, make some of them similar. Focus on well done. Most people, ich mag Kaffee. So you can see how it's very basic vocab, although you can make it complicated but it's just rehearsing them in a whole range of different ways. You can also get the kids' feedback if they like this. All right. I like that. Green all the time. I don't know if I didn't randomise it. Well done, you 40 people. Good job. So you get the idea. Now, here's a little mini poll that you can program in. You might be able to have a answer. And if you put the green one this time, Gary, I want to know who put the green one. Oh, 7 people. That's it. You've got all your webinars lined up for now. Well done, folks.
Linton, just letting you know when the music's on, we can't actually hear you speak.
Oh, right.
Sorry.
That's probably a good thing.
No, just so you know.
No worries. I just said whoever clicked that green one, they're your next 7 volunteers for the webinars.
Thank you. That's good.
All right. Have a listen.
Roger Federer, merci d'être avec nous. Vous êtes un citoyen du monde qui parle de nombreuses langues, donc j'aimerais vous poser quelques questions. Sur le cours, en quelle langue vous réfléchissez?
Ja, auf dem Platz denke ich eher manchmal auf Schweizerdeutsch oder auf Englisch am meisten. Französisch am wenigsten, weil das ist die Sprache, die ich zuletzt gelernt habe.
Interesting, isn't it? Yeah, so if you go on further in the clip, he speaks, I think, 4 languages altogether. They have an interview. It's a great tool for using in the classroom, by the way. Yeah, up to that point, I think there are only the 2. So anyway, that's Kahoot challenges or Kahoot quiz. And who did Amanda, and then who's that? So I hope but also has a purpose to recycle whatever language I needed to give you copies. Alright, let's jump out of Kahoot. Goodbye to that one. Back here. So okay. Nope, I need to share this one. There we go. All right, so slides, what's the time? 4:40, okay. So we take about 10 minutes and then we'll leave time for questions, and we'd like your comments because you might have a really clever way of using this, or you might have something that does it better. And while we've got 125 of us here, let's share that information with each other. So let's talk about slides. This might seem self-evident because 85% of you are saying that you are using slides. Okay, but do you use them as a teaching tool? You can use them, of course, for a presentation. Did you know you can use them for live interaction? Okay, so Google Slides, for example, I can have the whole class all working on slides all at once. Mentimeter, I can show you that too if you'd like. It's great fun. You can have people working together, gathering data. You can allow student input. You can use video, audio, and graphics. You can have assessment and feedback tasks all in one place. Did you know that iPads have the Google Slides app if you like Google Slides? You can save to PDF if you need to. You can print them out. So they're very flexible. And some of you might like to know that the Google team was sponsored by the department to run a series of webinars, and they're excellent. They have so many great ideas. And there's a visual thinking routine slides that's free. Great. They've got things like hexagons embedded in them where everyone can put their ideas into a mind map and do that sort of thing if you're working online with a whole class. So some really great ideas there. So I guess the advantage of something like Google Slides or Menti is you can work collaboratively with each other live in real time. PowerPoint and Keynote, we tend to know perhaps a bit better, but they're not originally designed for that kind of interaction. Now, I'm no expert in slide design, but I try to ask myself these questions here. Is the learning intention clear? If it's too busy, people won't pick up what you've intended them to learn. Is the task clear? Can you embed a short video? Okay, they like to see your face and they like it to be really clear. What is it that we're doing, or what are you showing us, or what are you teaching us? And have you given them the information that they need? Can they see and hear me as a language role model? Now, YouTube clips embed automatically in Google Slides, and there are some nice little sites that will clean them for you. Talk to us later about that if you need to know that. There's some great places so that you don't get all the advertisements and you know that they're safe for using for your kids. Other videos, sometimes some platforms have problems embedding videos. So for instance, I made a Loom video and Google Slides wasn't wrapped with that. So just one little tool is I put a placeholder, which is my ugly mug there, and you can then hyperlink that to the video. So I'll just show you how to do that. So here's my, let's jump out of there. Here's my Loom. If you haven't played with Loom, good fun. You can just illustrate with slides and so on what you're doing. So I could put something in here, but for now, actually I might whack in the one that I made the other day. It might be a better shot. So what I'm doing is I'm opening Loom and finding the URL I need and then attaching it to my face there. I'm trying to. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing there. I'll go back. Did I embed it in there already, maybe? Sorry, folks. There you go. So I set the picture up to be hyperlinked. Good morning, everyone. My learning intention today is for us to be able to say, Ich mag Kaffee. So I hope the task is really clear to you so we can make a nice video. I'm going to say it again. Ich mag Kaffee. 1, 2, 3. Oh, sehr gut. All right. So that's how you can link in pretty much any slides, whether you're using Keynote or PowerPoint or Menti or whatever. To this share here. Righty. So lots of slides programs. I don't know if you've seen Whiteboard. That's a really fun little program where really simple. You just add a new class and you can ask people to write or draw on a whiteboard. So I could call it my MLTAV class and I could create that class, and it's the same sort of process as Kahoot or Quizlet. You would visit that website, whiteboard.fi/B36, and then you'll get a code, and then everyone's little whiteboards will pop up there with something that you've asked them to do. So I could ask you in German, what does Linton like? And you could draw something perhaps. There's the room code up there. Another one is Mentimeter. Actually, we might try this one because this is good fun. So can you open a tab or on your phone or your iPad, put in menti.com and I'll give you the code in just a second. Menti.com. Its code is 565799. Say it again, 565799. Someone's in. So what do you think of Mentimeter? Do you like my picture? Yeah, so people are starting to tap those little icons, and you can see on your Zoom screen how they're floating up into the air, and I can tell how many people are thinking about it. You can change those little icons, you can change the background, you can put up all sorts of different things, and people can keep on jumping onto that presentation if they want to. I'm just going to jump to the next slide. All right, what's your favourite image, people? Here's a little graphical graph. Off you go. So far, Kaffee gewinnt. Das ist ja gut. My favourite. And you can see bottom right of my screen there, 31 people have responded, 32, and so on and so forth. So that's a really nice one you can use with even quite young students. So you can put up a whole lot of things that they like to do at home, for example, and then get them in their video of the week. Tell me about what you do at home, or what's your favourite activity, that kind of thing. So that's a nice little way to do that. Let's jump. Did I only put in 2, or maybe I only put in 2? That's okay. Probably we're running out of time, Linton. So back to here. Alrighty. You can use slides as a collaboration tool by just copying and pasting lots of times, okay? And you can then assign it to George or Fred or Sally or whoever you have in your class, and they can populate the one slide, and then the whole class can see those slides. And the beauty of Google Slides is you just go up to File and then to Version History. If someone's done something crazy and removed things, and you can go back through all the steps that have happened, and you can lock or unlock the slides as you need. Okay, feedback, how do you get it? Well, of course, use your school's platform first, because that's what parents have got used to. Find a way of listening. What works well for you guys, and what would be even better for you? Okay, what would help you to do this task? What about a Google form? They're really great. What about a video clip or a screencast using Loom or Screencastify, or one of those? Can kids do that for you? Show us your house, introduce us to your pet, use the language, recycle that language that I've just given you in Quizlet, and use it around your home. Maybe they can post their video and you can hyperlink it to their photo on a class slide. I've seen that done brilliantly in the last week, where all the kids' names were on one slide and then they're hyperlinked to the child's video. So every kid in the class clicks and finds what Anna did on Wednesday morning, or what Bill had for breakfast, and so on and so forth. You can use Quizlet, Kahoot, or Quizzes, or those other programs to give you reports, and you can break down the reports about what kids can do. Or if you're live, you can use reactions like we've used today. So, you know, going well, not going so well. Try to ask your kids questions, though, that will give you real answers, not just what, you know, I want to hear. I hope they're all saying this is a great activity. It's a great opportunity because they're not right in front of you, so they can give you honest feedback. So ask them, what would be interesting for us to learn next week, for example? Okay, your turn. What's been happening in the chat box all this time while I've been ranting and raving? So we've just got these couple of slides, and then we are done for the day. How do I insert images? I think we showed that. Yeah. How do you change the language? Yes. Can you insert umlauts and accents? Yes. Good question. So any special characters, the same way as you would insert special characters into Word or anything else, whatever method you use, whether it's a languages setting or a keyboard shortcut. How do you change the language in Droplet? Yeah. Good question. So I've got Google set when it first comes up, it'll ask you, do you want to translate it? And you can select always translate, don't translate, or whatever. Can you see that up there? So it's helpful for me to just change all of these terms into English just for quick referencing for myself, because I am not a good Japanese user. I would like to say I am a learner. Good question. Back to slides. Does Quizlet cater for non-Roman languages? Good question. I'm not sure, but I think so. Yeah, it must do, because one of the teachers I'm working with has used one of mine and made a Chinese version. So I'm guessing you just drop and drag your characters into the program, or use your keyboard as you normally would. When it is live, does that mean students have to log in at the same time? Yes, it does, like we did just before. Close down and Sophie 1. Oh, sorry, my apologies. Yeah, I was rushing. But you've all got the links if you've got the slides, so go back and have another go if you like. So Kahoot is similar to Quizzes. Kids don't have to sign up, no, they can just use it for free. All platforms need to make money somehow, so they'll try and get you to sign up. You have to pay to access extra features in Kahoot. Yes, true. Is it free to set up homework? Yes, I missed the start, but it was discussed how to use Kahoot remotely, yes. Perhaps have a look at the recording, might answer that question maybe, or speak to me later. How many more are there, Kerry? How are we going?
Yeah, this one here is more of a conversation. So there was a question, but there were lots of responses. So perhaps you could miss this one and go to the next slide. Okay.
I don't want to do anyone an injustice. I'm happy to chat to you separately if you'd like, but I'm mindful of our time and after a long day for many of you. Oh, that was an example of how to cut and paste. Hey, let's be good learners. I found it challenging this period, but I've also learned so much when I stop and think about it. And I hope that you've taken something away from today that you'll go and practice. Let's model that for our kids. Let's not say we're perfect. Let's say, hey, you know what? I'm learning to do this too. That is great role modeling. So if you want to get in touch with me, there's my details. And I am very happily working with a lot of schools at the moment, and I love working with kids and teachers. And don't forget, a lot of you have got PD funds and network funds. You should set up webinars for yourselves, and whatever your local interest things are, have a think about that. How can you be meeting the needs of your local group? Thank you for your attention. Back to you, Kerry.
Thank you, Linton. There were lots of wonderful tips and ideas there, and you had a lot of people engaged right until the end. We still have, I think, about 123 people with us. So fantastic. Thank you very much. I won't keep anybody too much longer. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for tapping in and engaging in the webinar this afternoon. I'm sure everyone's taken something, one or multiple things that they can incorporate into their own practice at the moment. Lynn, if you would like to complete a certificate of participation, only takes a couple of minutes. It's very brief, just good for us to get feedback in terms of planning. And in terms of Linton for his presentation, the link is the first one. If you missed any of our previous webinars, or if you have colleagues that may not have been able to tap in this afternoon, this is a link to the next link is the MLTAV website, where you can actually access the recorded versions as well as PowerPoint presentations. So as of tomorrow morning, this will be recorded and up there, and Linton has kindly agreed to share his PowerPoint, so that will be available as well. So thank you, Linton. Fantastic webinar, great session, and thank you everyone for participating. I'll actually stop the recording. If anybody wants to stay and have a bit of a chat, please feel free to.
Arrivederci. Auf Wiedersehen.
Au revoir.
Yes, au revoir.
Thank you, Linton. That was fantastic. We've still got a lot of people who are yet to drop off. Cynthia, you've unmuted yourself. Did you want to say anything? No. So Linton, that was great. I think there were a lot of questions and you got through them, and that was a good process to be capturing them into the PowerPoint presentation at the same time. So
did that work for
worked
you?
really well. It did.
It's good.
So I will be in touch later today, give you a link to the recording, which you can have a look at your own presentation. Thank you. It was terrific. Lots of ideas.
Thank you for your wonderful moderator work, Kerry.
Pleasure. It's always wonderful to work with you, Linton.
No worries.
So, okay, everyone, I'll probably stop the meeting now. I have saved the chat screen. Linton, there's lots of thank you messages in that too. Soha, you've asked if I can copy the chat screen. So I'm actually saving it now. And if anybody has any information, I'll probably have a look at that. If there's any names in there, I expect I can probably just get rid of surnames. I'm not sure how you go with sharing a chat screen that's got surnames in it, but I'll certainly look into that, and I have got it. So thank you, everyone. Have a great night. And our next webinar is next Monday. If you're interested, the information's on the MLTAV website. I look forward to getting your feedback surveys, and I'll send out certificates tomorrow. Au revoir. Bonsoir.